In this lecture, we are going to see the next topic, recursive and recursive enumerable languages. Already we saw in detail about recursive and recursive enumerable language, but in this lecture, we are going to see about what are the properties in recursive and recursive enumerable language. Let us start with the definition of recursive and recursive enumerable languages. The first one is recursive enumerable language. We know if the particular input string belongs to the language, then the Turing machine accept the particular input string and halt their operation with the answer of S. If the input string W does not belongs to the language, then the Turing machine does not accept the input string and goes to the infinite loop, or otherwise it is the loops forever. This is the concept of recursive enumerable language. So which means if the input string belongs to the language, then the Turing machine halt their operation. But if the input string does not belong to the language, then the Turing machine does not halt their operation. That is recursive enumerable language. So what is recursive language? A language is said to be recursive if the particular input string belongs to the language, then the Turing machine accepts that particular input string or a language and halt their operation with the answer of S. If the input string does not belongs to the language, W does not belongs to the language, then the Turing machine halt their operation with the answer of no. So whatever may be, the input belongs to the language or not, the Turing machine should halt with the answer either yes or no. So this is the main difference between recursive enumerable and recursive language. So in recursive language, the Turing machine should halt of their operation with either yes or no. But for recursive enumerable language, the Turing machine halt only if the input string belongs to the language only. If the input string does not belong to the language, then the Turing machine does not halt their operation. It goes to the infinite loop. So these are the properties of recursive and recursive enumerable language. The first property is union of two recursive enumerable languages, also recursive enumerable. So you can see the fourth property is for recursive language. So the first one and fourth one is union operation. But the first property is union of two recursive enumerable language. But fourth property is union of two recursive languages, also recursive. So fifth property is intersection of two recursive languages recursive. So the sixth one is the same thing but for recursive enumerable. So intersection of two recursive enumerable languages recursive enumerable. So first property and fourth property is union of recursive enumerable and recursive. Fifth and sixth is intersection of the same one recursive and recursive enumerable. So what is the fifth property? That is the second property, that is the language L and its complement, which means it is a reverse L dash or recursive enumerable, then the language L and L dash are recursive. This is the next property. And the last property is complement of, that is third one, complement of recursive language is also recursive. So these are the six properties of recursive and recursive enumerable languages. We will see one by one. The first property is union of two recursive languages recursive. So consider there are two languages, one is L1 and the second one is L2. So L1 is accepted by M1, that is Turing machine 1 M1, and L2 is accepted by another Turing machine M2. So we have to perform the union operation of both two recursive languages. So we can write L1 union L2 because L1 is one recursive language and L2 is another recursive language. L1 is accepted by M1 and L2 is, we are assuming L1 is accepted by M1 and L2 is accepted by M2. So we have to perform the union operation of both recursive language L1 and L2. So we can write L1 union L2 if and only if W1 belongs to L1 and W2 belongs to L2. Say L is a language, W is a input string. So here the Turing machine should halt always for this theorem. Consider L1 and L2 are two recursive languages and L1 is accepted by M1 and L2 is accepted by M2 respectively. Then we have to perform the union operation of both two recursive languages, that is L1 union L2 is also accepted by the Turing machine M, where X is equal to W1 union W2, which means W1 belongs to L1 and W2 belongs to L2. So we can perform the union operation W1 union W2. That is represented by X. So this is the diagrammatic representation of this theorem. So here the first one is M1, that is the first Turing machine which accept the input string X, which is the union of W1 union W2, and W1 belongs to L1, W2 belongs to L2. So M1 is accept the input string X and halt their operation with S, and otherwise the M1 halt their operation with the answer of no when the particular input string does not belong to any language, either L1 or L2. So it goes with another Turing machine, that is M2, for the operation of for the answer of S, for the answer of no. So if the answer is S, means we don't need to go for another Turing machine, it can directly go to the output is S. But if the answer is no, means we have to go for the another Turing machine M2. So here also, if the input string belongs to the language, it halt their operation with S. If the input string does not belongs to the language, then the second Turing machine M2 halt their operation with no. We know the concept of union. If any one of the input is true, means then the output is also true, which means if any one of the consider there are two inputs and one output, means if any one of the input is S, then the output is also S. That is the concept of here also. This is the first theorem of recursive language. So the second theorem is same operation of union, but the first one is union of two recursive language, but the second theorem is union of two recursive enumerable languages, recursive enumerable. RE is recursive enumerable. But in second unit, they can represent RE is regular expression, but in fifth unit it is recursive enumerable language. So here also we can take two languages, one is L1 and L2. So L1 is accepted by M1, consider L2 is accepted by M2. So here also the union operation. So L1 union L2 is accepted by the Turing machine capital M, where the input string X is equal to W1 union W2. For W1 belongs to L1 and W2 belongs to L2. So here we have to determine if any one of the Turing machine, either M1 or M2, check whether the particular Turing machine whether it accept X input string. So for this operation determination, we have to run both Turing machine M1 and M2 simultaneously. Here we are using two-tape Turing machine. We saw this two-tape Turing machine in the fourth unit, programming techniques of Turing machine construction. So two-way infinite tape, it is one of the programming techniques of Turing machine construction. So here we are using two-tape Turing machine method for M1 and M2, because we have to run both Turing machine M1 and M2 to check whether either any one of the Turing machine accept the particular input X. So here the Turing machine M simulates M1 on the first tape and M2 on the second tape. So here we are using two-tape Turing machine. So the first Turing machine M1 belongs to the first tape, and the second Turing machine M2 belongs to the second tape. So if either any one of the Turing machine enter the final state, means then the input is accepted. So this is the concept of union of two recursive enumerable languages, recursive enumerable. So the next theorem is the language L and the complement of language L dash or recursive enumerable, means then the language L is recursive. So consider the language L is equal to L of M1. That is the meaning of this statement is the Turing machine M1 accept the language L. So and L dash is equal to L of M2, means the another Turing machine M2 accept the complement of the given language L, that is L dash. So here we are going to construct the Turing machine M, capital M, which simulates the Turing machine M1 and M2 in parallel. Where simultaneously they have to be simulate the operation of M1 and M2 on M using two-tape Turing machine, likewise in the previous theorem. So if the input of the Turing machine M, which belongs to the language L, then the Turing machine M1 accept that particular input string belongs to the language and halt their operation. and after that M accepts it and halt their operation. If the input does not belong to the Turing machine, which means if the Turing machine M does not accept the input string which does not belongs to the language L, which means it is L dash, that is complement of language, then M2 accept that input string and halt their operation. So here the Turing machine halt without accepting. So there are two cases. One is M1 accept it. M1 accept the language and halt. The second case is M2 accept the language L dash and halt. Does not halt without accepting. So there are two cases. So here the second case, the Turing machine halt their operation but without accepting. But the first case, the Turing machine M halt after accepting the input string. So here M halt on every input. So the language L is recursive, which means L is equal to L of M. M is a Turing machine which accept the language L. So this is the concept of the language L and the complement of L dash or recursive enumerable means then the given language is recursive. So the fourth property or fourth theorem is the complement of recursive language is recursive. We know what is recursive language. So the complement of recursive language is recursive. So here we are going to prove, consider one language that is considered to be recursive. Then we have to take the complement of that particular language. After that we have to prove the complement of recursive language is recursive. So for this we have to consider capital L is a recursive language which is accepted by one Turing machine M1. So we can perform the complementation of operations. So we can take L dash be a recursive language which accepted by the another Turing machine M2. So the construction of M1 and M2 is likewise. The first Turing machine is M1. If the input string belongs to the language L, then the Turing machine M1 accept that particular input string W and halt with S. If M1 does not, if the particular input string does not belongs to the language, then M1 rejects the particular input string or a language and halt with answer of no. M2, the second Turing machine M2 is activated once when M1 halt their operation. So here also M2 works on the complementation of language L dash. Here M1 returns yes means then M2 halt with no. If M1 returns no means then M2 halt with S because it is a complementation. So whatever the result of M1, it is a reverse of the output of M2. So the theorem is proved by the complementation of recursive language is always recursive. So the fifth theorem or property is intersection of two recursive languages recursive. It is similar like the union operation that we saw in the first theorem. So here also we have to consider two languages that should be recursive. So the intersection operation to be performed on two recursive language. So the theorem is proved by intersection of two recursive languages always recursive. So consider two recursive languages. One is L1 and another is L2. So L1 is accepted by M1 and L2 is accepted by M2, which can be written as L of M1 is equal to L1 and L2 is equal to L of M2, which means L1 is accepted by M1 and L2 is accepted by M1. The sentence can be written in the statement of this format. So here the construction of M1 and M2 by the intersection of M1 and M2. So here the Turing machine or the Turing machine M3 which simulates the operation of M1 with the input string W. So here if the particular input string does not belongs to the language, then M1 halt their operation with the answer of no. Here L of M3 is equal to L of M1 intersection of L of M2. If M2 accept the input string, which means it get the input from M1 output, that is S, which means M2 accept the input string, then the answer of M2 and M3 are S and halt their operation. Else M2 halt with answer no. So here also proved that the intersection of two recursive language is always recursive. So the last property is intersection of two recursive enumerable languages recursive enumerable. The previous theorem is intersection of two recursive languages recursive. This one intersection of two recursive enumerable languages recursive enumerable. So to understand these 6 theorems, we should know what is recursive and what is recursive enumerable language. Without knowing that, we can't understand this 6 theorems. So here also we can consider two languages, L1 and L2. Both are to be two recursive enumerable languages which are accepted by the Turing machine M1 and M2, which means L1 is accepted by M1 and L2 is accepted by M2. We have to be considered. So if the input string W belongs to L1, then M1, the Turing machine M1 accept the input string and returns halt their operation and returns S, which means the Turing machine M1 accept the input string. Else the Turing machine will never halt their operation, which means it does not accept the input string or reject the input string if and only if W does not belongs to L1. So this is the diagrammatic representation of intersection of two recursive enumerable languages, recursive enumerable. So here also the formula is M3 is equal to M1 intersection M2. So the output of M1 and M2 are written in the input type of M3, because we have to take the output of M1 and M2 of S and S, and which was the input of the another Turing machine M3. So M3 returns S if both the output of M1 and M2 is S, which means M3, the third Turing machine, accept the input string and halt their operation with S if and only if the Turing machine M1 and M2 should accept the input string and halt their operation with S. If any one of the Turing machine M1 and M2 does not accept the input string and halt their operation with no, then the another Turing machine M3 does not accept the input string. The Turing machine M3 rejects the input string and it goes to the infinite loop. So this is the concept. So from this we can understand the concept of what is recursive and what is recursive enumerable language, and what is complement of recursive language, and what are the properties of recursive and recursive enumerable language.